to idiotic politicians who enforced those rules, arrested that mom for watching a football game with her own family outside. When that story broke, I said to myself, I cannot stand idly on the side and watch this happen. It was about 6 years ago today that I decided I'm going to give up my businesses, sell them all, run for office, run for the United States Senate. Here I am sitting in front of you 6 years later saying, who the f do you think you were for doing that? It is a total disgrace what you did to this country. And if my Democrat colleagues are standing there defending you, I hope the voters of the United States of America watch the clips of every one of you doting on a guy who was more interested in being a celebrity than saving American people.
Dr. Anthony Fauci, he shut down schools. He pushed vaccines. He masked us up. Fauci made us stand 6 feet apart. And he made our family members die alone. Fauci couldn't answer a question as to why during a hearing in front of senators yesterday. Instead, he pled the fifth 111 times. In his opening statement, Fauci said that he was following the advice of his attorneys and accused Senator Rand Paul of having an obsession with prosecuting him, arguing that the hearing was to trap him into making statements that could be used against him. But maybe it was his own diary that was released that is being used against him, because in it, Fauci's own words are completely different than what he was telling the country during the COVID era. Senator Rand Paul says he's moving forward with a vote next week on whether to hold Fauci in contempt of Congress.
Let's be clear today, what we've seen. I really did want to hear from Dr. Fauci. I wanted to hear perhaps an apology, perhaps some semblance of being sorry for what happened or that judgment errors were made. We didn't hear any of that. But he was subpoenaed here to testify, refused to answer any questions, even after being directed by the chair and being advised of the law requiring him to do so. He has cited a privilege that is unsupported because of his blanket pardon and because he waived the privilege by testifying at the start. I'm going to give you one more opportunity to comply with the law, limited to the period of your pardon. At any point between January 1st, 2014 and January 19th, 2025, did you destroy any federal record or tell anyone else to?
Under the advice of counsel, I respectfully decline to answer based upon my rights under the Fifth Amendment to the Constitution.
Given that you have a unlimited presidential pardon, what is your specific objection that you are making?
On the advice of counsel, I respectfully decline to answer based upon my rights under the Fifth Amendment to the Constitution.
My question was limited to the period of your pardon only. I find your objection unsupported and direct you to answer the question.
On the advice of counsel, I respectfully decline to answer based upon my rights under the Fifth Amendment to the Constitution.
Because you refuse to answer, citing a privilege that is unsupported because of your pardon, and after being denied to do so, this committee has scheduled a vote next week on a resolution certifying your contempt.
Let's bring in Adam Finnegan, author of The Sleeper Agent. Adam, this was one of the most anticipated hearings on Capitol Hill this year, but Fauci said very little. His journal may be the key here. It has unveiled who Fauci truly is. What can you tell us?
Yeah, and I can actually tell you that I know my folks actually met this woman whose mother worked for him. They go to some restaurant across town in Cape Cod, and she said that he's not a nice guy. He's as bad as they make him out to be, and so I think that kind of confirms it, because if you look at how he addressed yesterday with just pleading the fifth, he can refuse the questions, but in the eyes of the American people, he looks really, really bad.
Absolutely. And we were kind of expecting him to come in and plead the fifth because they would slam him if he had anything to say about his diary, about what he told the American people for years during the COVID era. But his own journal revealed more about his true character and his mindset than his years of testimony. That journal, that diary, says so much about a man who seems to have put on a front for years.
Yeah. And then we also had that phone call that they played in, I think that was 2024 when they had him back, and they were playing that phone call, I think it was, where he was talking about if we make life difficult for everybody, they'll lose their ideological BS and go get vaccinated. And it was something else. And, you know, with all of the ocean, they begged these people to get vaccinated, and then tons of them got vaccine injuries. And then when they got the vaccine injuries, after they begged them to get the vaccine, when they went in to get help for the injuries, they completely ignore them. Like a lot of these vaccine injuries are just completely ignored by the public health system, and that really says a lot about the state of our public health system at this time.
Absolutely. And as you know, they were knocking down ivermectin during this time. Ivermectin saved lives, Adam, and it's saving lives of people with cancer right now. But the medical field, the big pharma, continues to this day to say ivermectin doesn't work. But the American people, the true stories of the people that it's actually helping, they're out there. But the news media, the fake news media won't cover it. Big pharma won't cover it. A lot of the lawmakers won't touch it. Why are they willing to investigate the virus's origin? Did it come from the Wuhan lab? Did it come from animals into humans? But they're not so concerned about these vaccine injuries.
Yeah, and that's the most disturbing part. And, you know, it's not just injuries, but there were also many deaths. I know of many people who just a few days after getting it dropped dead. And that was something I saw in the VAERS report, because I kept up to date with what was being reported in VAERS, and that was common. People were getting the vaccine, and then they'd go to bed, and then the next morning they'd be found dead. Or you'd have cases where people would be jogging on, going for a jog, and then all of a sudden, halfway through the jog, they just drop dead. And it was very startling. And, the celebrities, for example, I had never seen so many celebrities dropping dead before this rollout. It was like you're seeing it every day. Healthy people, young people, athletes, and a lot of those movie stars were gunning for the vaccine, and then a lot of the ways they die are they could be connected, like heart problems, strokes, ALS, MS, stuff like that. It's all because it can unravel in many different ways, but these are all ways that would be expected. So it's definitely. It's definitely the most disturbing part of this.
It truly is. But again, we were all conspiracy theorists, right? We didn't know what we were talking about. They told us to trust the science, trust the experts. You had the Democrats yesterday, Adam, on the stand telling Fauci, thank you for your years of service. Now, I'm sure he's done a lot of good in his tenure, but he's done a lot of bad. And that's what we're focusing on today, because millions of people lost their lives. They died alone. Family members couldn't go to the hospitals to say their final goodbyes. We know that during the funerals, you couldn't host a certain amount of people. Your loved ones could have had your entire family there and the entire community there to come say goodbye to them, but they couldn't, because Fauci made sure that we had a certain amount of people who could go to the funerals, and we all had to sit 6 feet apart. I know, because I actually witnessed it and was there and lost a family member during the COVID years to COVID, died alone in the hospital. Only 2 family members could be there at the time. They had to suit up.
Sorry to hear that.
I mean, they looked like astronauts. I mean, it was just truly disgusting. And this man could not even go on the stand yesterday and turn around when asked for the people behind him to stand up if they were victims of COVID-19. he was asked to turn around and apologize or just look them in the eye, and he couldn't do it. I mean, does he have no soul?
Yeah. I mean, when you look in his eyes, it doesn't look like there's much there, you know?
Yeah, it's truly sad. And so we'll see what happens, because they will be called to vote next week on Fauci. But staying on the medical, that is one of my pet peeves is the big pharma. I've been through it with them. My family members have been through it with them. We know that their financial influence over Congress is truly disgusting. It almost makes Congress see them as being untouchable because they're so powerful. The medical pharmaceutical industry is so powerful, but the American people have really awakened to the truth. And so the American people know that, if you look at cancer, you have, these hospitals that are like cities, and they're giving you the same medicines, the same treatment, and it's not working. So what do? They listen to the true stories of the American people who are saying, ivermectin worked for my family member who had cancer. We've had celebrities. You mentioned A-listers, celebrities who say they know people who have had stage 4 cancer and ivermectin worked. But Big Pharma says, don't touch it. It's for horses.
Yeah. And, it's truly it's disturbing, and I know there's also all of these biodefense laws that protect the pharma companies. So it's there's a lot going on, and but yeah, I mean, leaving the American people injured like this is not, and then people have to like try to get to Japan to get treatments and stuff, and like they can't even get treatment, they can't even get help. See, they can't even get diagnosed as sick for a lot of these injuries because of the way these injuries happen. It's vague. Like, it causes non-specific symptoms that they don't classify into these specific boxes, and therefore they get undiagnosed. They say, we don't see what's wrong with you. We can't find anything wrong with you. And a lot of them are just left to rot. And I just think that's so just horrifying. To have people, okay, you begged me to get the vaccine, I get it, and now I can't even, I lose my job, I can't even work anymore, and now you're telling me I'm not sick? Like, come on,
Yeah, and speaking of that, let's talk about all of the people who lost their job because they wouldn't get the vaccine, including our brave military.
Yeah, there's that too, absolutely, yes. And it's just truly sickening. The whole situation is just really unfortunate.
It truly is. But Adam, at the end of the day, is Congress investigating the pandemic, or a lot of them protecting the institutions that shaped its response? And you have to want to believe that after yesterday, there are some in Congress who are really wanting to investigate the pandemic. But unfortunately, there's a lot in Congress as well who are protecting these institutions.
Yeah. That's happening. I mean, I like what Ron Johnson was doing with the vaccine injuries, and I hope that gets more attention and stuff. And yeah, this whole thing. And that's why, like, in my book, The Sleeper Agent, I went back to like very early times, and I laid it all out and showed people this game has been going on for a long time, and it's very well documented, and it's very well hidden. It's always hidden. They hide it under benign research, but I really laid it out in that book. And I think if people pick up that book and read it, they will have an entirely new understanding. And it's all backed by evidence, over 1,000 citations to official research. I laid that out like I was trying to make a case in a court of law. So I used only evidence that would be admissible in a court of law, is the way I saw it and went about that.
I encourage everyone to pick up a copy of the book. We just had it on the screen. You can pick up that copy on Amazon, The Sleeper Agent. Adam, we're so appreciative of the work that you do and getting the word out, because we need more of it, especially now in this day and age. You have someone like Dr. Fauci, whose diary was released. He's in front of Congress yesterday saying, poor pitiful me, that you released this in its entirety instead of apologizing to the American people. But the American people deserve the truth. They deserve transparency. And you're right. Not only did so many people die from COVID, but so many people are vaccine injured, still dealing with that today. And it's just so unfair that you have this man who is walking free, who was behind it all.
Yeah, and being hailed as a celebrity and made the most famous man in America.
Still, you know, again, we heard it yesterday from the Democrats thanking him for being such a wonderful doctor. Well, Adam, we're going to continue to do what we do and fight for the word to get out to the American people. Appreciate you. Again, I encourage everyone to go pick up a copy of his book, The Sleeper Agent, on Amazon. Adam, thank you.
Thank you.
Former Director of National Intelligence Tulsi Gabbard. She released a statement after the hearing saying she's disgusted with Fauci, his diary, and his hearing.
Before the COVID pandemic, Dr. Fauci, as head of the National Institute of Allergy and Infectious Diseases, provided millions in U.S. taxpayer dollars to fund dangerous gain-of-function research on bat coronaviruses at the Wuhan Institute of Virology, work which is now widely viewed as the source of the unintentional lab leak that sparked the pandemic. Now, in support of President Trump's maximum transparency mandate, today, on my final day as Director of National Intelligence, I'm releasing never-before-seen communications and documents that expose exactly how Fauci worked with politicized career leadership in the intelligence community to suppress the truth about his actions, the virus's lab leak origins, and his role in directing U.S. funding for this dangerous research that caused immeasurable harm and countless lost lives. Now, these documents expose Fauci's direct role in influencing and manipulating IC assessments on COVID-19 and how Fauci lied to Congress in 2024 when under oath he denied knowledge of or participation in discussions with intelligence officials about viral research. We also received testimony from multiple intelligence community whistleblowers who reported retaliation for challenging the intelligence community's manipulation of intelligence on the virus's origins, once again revealing a clear pattern of suppressing dissent, silencing critics, and burying the truth. Dr. Fauci's close relationships with the intelligence community enabled him to assume three key roles that shield him from scrutiny. First, Dr. Fauci funded dangerous gain-of-function coronavirus research linked to Big Pharma and their pursuit of universal vaccines worth trillions of dollars. Second, Dr. Fauci was the behind-the-scenes advisor who, alongside his hand-picked so-called experts, pushed the intelligence community to endorse a natural animal origin to hide his dangerous gain-of-function research that he funded using taxpayer dollars, all of this in a deliberate attempt to cover up the truth and shift the blame and attention away from Fauci's own actions. Third, Dr. Fauci became the nation's pandemic pundit, and he publicly pushed lies, disinformation, and censorship using every platform available. Now, according to hundreds of reviewed emails, which are included in this release, the intelligence community almost always incorporated Fauci's recommendations. He promoted a fraudulent paper whose publication he helped prompt as legitimate information for intelligence community consideration. Senior analysts praised Dr. Fauci not as a policymaker, but as what they called an unbiased guide to the real coronavirus experts, while deliberately ignoring experts who might dissent from Fauci's narratives. Now, Fauci didn't stop there. He blatantly lied to Congress under oath during his 2024 testimony to the House Select Subcommittee on the Coronavirus Pandemic, denying that he ever spoke to any intelligence agency about COVID. Now, the correspondence I'm releasing today directly contradicts his sworn testimony. Now, we received statements from multiple whistleblowers revealing that the intelligence analysts who dared to challenge Dr. Fauci's COVID origin conclusions faced threats of retaliation, marginalization, and many suffered career setbacks. For example, a contractor was terminated just days after coming forward to ODNI as a whistleblower. Another example, those who advocated for the lab leak hypothesis or expressed dissenting views were reminded by their managers that leadership would determine which analysts would be promoted and which would not. The message was clear: go along or be punished. Senior leaders also sought to undermine whistleblowers by removing anonymity, which is required in the whistleblower process, as they made their complaints, and also insisting that their managers or attorneys be present during ODNI meetings where these whistleblowers were coming forward with their testimony, obviously creating an atmosphere of intimidation. The COVID pandemic caused tremendous hardship and pain for millions of our fellow Americans and countless people around the world. Now, after years of lies and censorship and cover-ups, the American people deserve transparency, truth, and accountability. The tactics that were used to hide the truth are straight from the deep state playbook. Politicized, self-serving leaders like Dr. Fauci covered up their own wrongdoing and abuses of power, manipulated intelligence, lied to Congress, and undermined a duly elected president by restricting his access to the vital facts he needed to keep the country safe. It's time you know the truth.
So she posted that yesterday, a recording that she made on her final day in office. Very well said. And as you remember, Fauci was pardoned before Joe Biden left office. But was he pardoned by the then president, or was he pardoned by an AUTOPEN? Here's President Trump's response.
Do you think that the DOJ should reopen the investigation into the AUTOPEN, specifically pertaining to Fauci?
Well, the only thing you can really think about is the AUTOPEN, because the most powerful thing the president has, they say, is the power of pardon. So he was pardoned by Biden, and I respect that. I know how powerful it is. It's a very powerful, they say it's literally the most powerful thing a president has. Now, whether or not I sign my things directly, always, almost everything I sign directly. You're witness to many of them. He signed very few. The only thing I know that he signed was Hunter Biden's pardon, but I'm not sure that he signed, he probably didn't sign this one. So I can't tell you what the law is. I've heard that you have to have a lot of proof. You need to have letters. You need to have all sorts of things that the person operating the AUTOPEN has to know exactly what it's all about. He didn't know what it was about because I saw him testify. So maybe there's something on the AUTOPEN. Other than that, the power of pardon is very powerful.
The power of pardon is very powerful, he says. It's extremely broad. President Trump said questions surrounding how Fauci's pardon was executed could merit further scrutiny. So we are on watch for next week as the committee votes on holding Fauci in contempt of Congress. We will keep you posted. Also on the Hill, Senator John Thune, he won't commit to canceling August recess for the Save America Act. Our Allison Steinberg asked Thune whether the Senate could or would cancel a month of vacation after a dozen Republican senators called on leadership to stay in Washington to get the bill passed.
Are you still planning to proceed with the August recess now that about 12 of your Republican colleagues are calling to stay behind on the recess and work through to get the Save America Act passed?
I'm for anything that we can do to get the Save America Act passed. The question I always ask is, what is your picture of victory? What is the end game here? If, in fact, staying here for the month of August means that we assume at some point there will be 10 Democrats who cross over and vote for the Save America Act, I think it would stay here till Christmas. That's not going to happen. And the other thing I would say about that is that there are going to be 50 votes to get rid of the legislative filibuster. So if budget reconciliation is a path forward, if we conclude that there's actually a chance to get an outcome or a result there, I'm open to doing it. I think all of our colleagues would be open to staying around here if that were true. But I think that we have to see, first of all, that can be proven to be the case. And but I don't think, having a Congress sitting around here for the month of August in forum halls or having to vote on Democrat amendments is probably a good use of anybody's time. So we will see and see where the conversation goes.
Good use of their time. Well, you know what? I vote to stay until Christmas. Get it done. Have a slumber party in the halls if you have to. The American people don't care. It's not a waste of time. Do what you have to do. Just get it done. Here's more from the president. Here's his response to THUNE.
On Leader THUNE, what's your reaction to him saying that there's no evident path to success on killing the filibuster or passing the Save America Act?
Well, that's too bad for him. I mean, that's too bad for him and too bad for the Republican Party.
Do you believe that?
He's got the votes. He should get it done. He should be able to get it done.
He should be able to get it done, but he hasn't. He needs to get the votes needed. And of course, he's called on Congress, the president has, to nuke the filibuster. THUNE won't do that either. All right, well, after the break, an attack on pregnant women in California, the state suing pregnancy centers. We have all the details for you next. Stay with us.
Mike Lindell here. The radical left and the deep state aren't just coming for our freedoms, they're coming after our money too. For years, they've been destroying our economy from the inside out with reckless spending, open borders, woke policies that crush our businesses. And now they've left us with an inflation disaster that's wiping out the savings of our hardworking families. They don't want us to be independent. They want us to be dependent on the government. Well, that's not going to happen on my watch. That's why I partner with American Independence Gold. It's a veteran-owned company that's helping patriotic Americans fight back by protecting our savings with real physical gold and silver. And right now they're giving away up to $15,000 in free silver and a free gold IRA kit. A portion of all the profits go to 9/11 first responders and veterans at the Tunnels to Towers Foundation. The deep state can't touch your gold, so visit MikeLindellGold.com or call 844-714-4653 right now. That's MikeLindellGold.com. Take back control. Well, hello, everyone. Well, I'm turning 65, and let me tell you, Medicare has me confused. All the junk mail and the robocalls and everything else, it honestly feels like they rigged the system just to confuse us. Well, that's why I partnered and working with Chapter. They're independent and they don't work for big insurance. They work for us. In fact, they're the only advisor that compares every single plan nationwide to find what actually fits your needs. If you're on the right plan, they tell you. If you're not, they're going to help you switch. And it's completely free. Just last year, seniors saved about $1,100 by finding a better plan with Chapter. So call Chapter at 234-LINDELL or go to askchapter.org/Lindell. You know, most people think water's just about filtration, but in reality, it's about balance. What gets removed, what gets left behind, and how the water actually behaves once you drink it. Well, many traditional systems focus on one thing, removal. Reverse osmosis, for example, strips water down completely. It may sound ideal, but it removes minerals that our bodies need. The Century Wellness System was designed with a different philosophy. It removes common contaminants like chlorine, fluoride, and PFAS while restoring key minerals like magnesium and improving alkalinity. It also does all this without tanks and without wastewater, and without requiring a complicated installation. It installs in about 15 minutes under your sink, so instead of overcorrecting, it brings your water back into balance. Please visit CenturyH2O.com and use promo code Lindell for 10% off your next purchase.
Talk is cheap when it comes to saving our country. We're not just any cell phone service provider. We're Patriot Mobile. It's not enough to simply talk about values. We live them. Defending life, protecting our First and Second Amendments, and celebrating our military and first responder heroes. We're boots on the ground making a difference. We're America's only Christian conservative wireless provider with nationwide coverage on all 3 major networks and 100% U.S.-based customer service. Join Patriot Mobile today and make an impact every time you use your cell phone.
America's founders warned that without knowledge and virtue, no nation can remain free. Yet through the steady infiltration of Marxist ideology, we have been stripped of both, and we are no longer a moral and educated people. To save America, we must spark nothing less than a national renaissance. That's why you need Freedom Talk Magazine, the journal of truth and virtue. We cultivate enlightened thinking and principled living, offering unique insights into the issues and remarkable people defining our world. Sign up today for your free subscription to Freedom Talk Magazine and join the new American Renaissance.
We're back with a threat to the pro-life movement. Pregnancy centers in California are being targeted. With details on a lawsuit the state of California has filed is Reverend Jim Harden. Jim, good to see you on the show today. Thanks so much for stopping by. Good morning. Pregnancy centers are under attack. Hate to see it. I was reading up on it last night, these articles talking about the latest going on there in California. What can you tell us?
Yes, well, thanks a lot for having me on, Vanessa. It's an honor to be here. Rob Bonta is the Attorney General for California, and he filed a lawsuit against pregnancy centers, pro-life pregnancy centers in California, as well as Heartbeat International, specifically for committing fraud. They're trying to shut down these pregnancy centers from providing women with free medical care, specifically around chemical abortion. Now, the abortion industry is very afraid that their primary tool for delivering abortion to women is going to be somehow abrogated because chemical abortion represents 70% of all abortions in America, probably more, which represents about 700,000 abortions every single year. And they're delivering these chemical abortion drugs directly to women's homes in violation of federal law and many other state laws like Louisiana and Texas. Pregnancy centers are the only competition for the chemical abortion industry right now. And what they're doing, pregnancy centers in California and in New York, are telling women the truth that chemical abortion sends 1 in 10 women to the emergency room. And yet the chemical abortion industry says, oh, no, they're safer than Tylenol. And yet now the FDA is actually reviewing the safety of this drug and why it was deregulated during the Biden administration. So Rob Bonta has joined forces with the abortion industry to protect the abortion industry and promote abortion by targeting the chemical abortion industry's only competition, that's pregnancy centers. And what we do is we also have what was called, it's called emergency progesterone therapy or abortion pill reversal. Rob Bonta wants to shut down the ability for women who change their mind to actually have their baby. If you start the chemical abortion process, he wants to ensure that you continue and have this abortion you don't want. And so pregnancy centers are getting in the way of that because they offer emergency progesterone therapy, literally taking life out of the very jaws of death with this emergency care. So, this by the way has crossed state lines. This theory, this new strategy for attacking pregnancy centers. And by the way, it's something that we predicted a couple of years ago before President Trump took office the second time. The attacks on pregnancy centers have been severe over the last 4 years, since even slightly before the overturning of Roe versus Wade with the Dobbs decision in 2022. And the attacks have been visceral. They've been violent. One of our pregnancy centers in Buffalo was firebombed by pro-abortion terrorists. We've had laws written against us in blue states. We've had this kind of lawfare that's happening. We've been debanked. We've been censored by big tech. I mean, this is just the next step. They're testing out a new legal theory to see if they can't bury pro-life pregnancy centers in this new legal strategy to keep us from serving women and saving lives all across America. So it's bled over into New York. Attorney General Letitia James has filed a copycat lawsuit against our pregnancy center network, Compass Care, and others. Same thing, $20 million in fines if the pregnancy centers in California lose. This is an existential threat to pro-life pregnancy centers continuing their ability to serve women and give them a true ethical choice as opposed to abortion. So this is a big moment. People think that, well, President Trump is in office and, Roe versus Wade's been reversed, but abortion numbers are actually up in this country. And now you've got abortion hub states where all the abortions are concentrated, like California and New York. This is a bookend, attack on pro-life pregnancy centers across this country. Meanwhile, and here's the irony. Meanwhile, the legislature, who is, God knows why, are going on August break. The legislature has decided to refund Planned Parenthood, the biggest abortion business on the planet. They're going to start sending Planned Parenthood $800 million a year. I don't know what is that all about. I thought the legislature was Republican. I thought they had some kind of moral backbone, but apparently not when they're looking down the barrel of the midterms. This is a winning issue for Republicans. This is a winning issue. This is an opportunity for Republicans to show they have moral leadership. They have a vision of a future America where all people are protected under the law, including the most weak and vulnerable, preborn boy and girl. But instead, you have pregnancy centers, pro-life pregnancy centers, that provide nearly $500 million in free medical care to women across this country, and they're not supported by taxpayer dollars. By the way, this is all money that's coming from churches and individuals. But we're being attacked. Why is the DOJ and the FBI not looking into these kinds of attacks that are being perpetrated against us by like people like Rob Bonta and Letitia James? I think they need to be investigated. I think they're abusing and misusing their power to essentially conspire, not just to protect the abortion industry, but to conspire to keep us from exercising our rights to freedom of religion and freedom of speech as pro-life Christians in America.
Jim, I've said it all along. The government makes it so hard for us women to bring life into this world, but they make it so easy to end life of our unborn.
Yes.
And it should be the opposite. We should be doing everything we can to bring life into this world and making it so hard to abort and murder these unborn precious babies. But that's not the case.
Yes.
Unfortunately, that's not the world we're living in. You mentioned several things, and I want to bring up one. You talked about crossing state lines, and I know you were focused more on how it's gone over into New York with AG Letitia James, copycatting the lawsuit against these pregnancy centers. But you also mentioned how these chemical abortion pills are affecting pregnant women. Another thing that's scary, speaking of and kind of tying it into crossing state lines, is that they're mailing these pills to women across the country. So you may not live in California and you may not live in New York, but you can live in Alabama and they're going to ship it to you. And so it's being shipped to these women in other states where abortion is banned, and that's very, very dangerous. And so they need to get a handle on that. So instead of attacking the pro-life centers, the pregnancy centers that are helping women bring life, have healthy pregnancies for the mom and the baby, they need to be going after what's in our mailing system as these chemical abortion pills are being, crossed through state lines to women.
Without a doubt, 100% agree. In fact, at least 20 state attorneys general agree with you. Many senators, probably at least half of the senators, have written letters to the Department of Justice. Even with the confirmation hearings with Todd Blanche, there were concerns about why the DOJ is not enforcing the laws duly enacted by the legislature. And specifically, I'm thinking here of the Comstock Act. And the Comstock Act is a federal law that makes it illegal to ship anything across state lines or U.S. borders that is intended to end the life of a baby in utero. That's called abortion. It is illegal to ship chemical abortion drugs across U.S. borders and state lines. It's happening every single day. And we've got politicians, pharmacies, physicians, carriers, mail carriers, all conspiring to violate federal law. By the way, this comes with racketeering charges. If we simply upheld the law in the Comstock Act, we wouldn't have to pass another pro-life law in America, because it would bankrupt the abortion industry overnight. You know why? Because every violation of the Comstock, every time you send some chemical abortion drugs across state lines from New York to places like Texas and Louisiana, from California to places like New Mexico, it is a violation of the Comstock Act, which carries a $250,000 fine per instance and jail time, plus racketeering charges, which is you can charge triple damages. So this would essentially provide for, if you just take the last 5 years, because there's a 5-year statute of limitations, if you just take the last 5 years, you're looking at nearly $2 trillion in fines, say nothing of jail time for people like New York Governor Kathy Hochul, who creates shield laws to protect the criminal actions of these abortionists in New York, sending these drugs all across the country. This is a moment for the DOJ to actually do their job. It's not the job of the DOJ to pick and choose which laws to enforce like a box of chocolates. It's their job to enforce whatever laws the legislature has duly enacted, and that includes the Comstock Act. Meanwhile, where they're allowing the chemical abortion industry to violate other states' laws and other states' sovereignty, like Louisiana and Texas, who have pro-life laws that want to protect their citizens, but are not allowed to do so because of the insanity of legislation and legislators in places like New York. So we've got to keep fighting because women are at risk. Obviously, children are at risk, and this is a key moment in a constitutional crisis for our country.
Yes, it is. And, I want everyone at home to think about this for a second. Nonprofit pregnancy centers like your own, you provide free medical care, ultrasounds, parenting support, baby supplies. You're facing multi-million-dollar penalties and fines in places like California and New York. But these abortion providers, they're the ones receiving federal funding. Make it make sense. It doesn't at all. So the people who truly need the help are depending on the American people to support them, but yet the ones who are saying, here's a pill, go kill your child, they're receiving federal funding.
That's right. That's exactly what's happening. That's a perfect summation. I don't understand it. It makes no sense to me, especially given the makeup of the legislature today. It doesn't make any sense to me, especially given the nature of the DOJ and the Trump leadership and the administration. It makes no sense to me when it comes to just looking at the medical ethics. Look at medical ethics. The original Hippocratic Oath, the oath that doctors would take before they started practicing medicine independently, had a little phrase in it. And I'm gonna quote the phrase because it's old English and I'm gonna explain it. The phrase goes like this: "I will not give a woman an abortive remedy." What that basically means is, hey, abortion is the antithesis of the purpose of medicine. Abortion is the original quackery. Why would they put abortion in the Hippocratic Oath when they could have put so many other things in the Hippocratic Oath? Why abortion? Because the purpose of medicine is to heal and to maintain the health of the patient. And when you're serving a pregnant woman, you're serving two patients. So, on the face of it, abortion has always been quackery. Why is it that pro-abortion politicians, those in charge of the Democrat Party, are so dedicated to abortion? It's not because they want, it's not because of women's health. It's not because of freedom. It's not because of, access or whatever. It's all about power. And what does abortion give legislators but the ability to decide who lives and who dies? It is not the purview of government to decide which category of people are protected under the law and which ones are not. Everyone. If everyone is not protected equally under the law, including preborn boys and girls, then equality is truly a farce. And the constitutional rule of law, which makes us all equal under the law, is fiction. And we're kidding ourselves if we think that we're somehow doing the country a service by not talking about abortion. The Republicans are kidding themselves to think that they're actually accruing to themselves credibility when they refuse to talk about the most horrific human rights abuse in the history of mankind. This is abortion. 75 million abortions, according to the World Health Organization, every single year across the globe. Let's just say that there is an average of 50 million abortions over the last, say, 50 years. That's 2 billion babies in the last 50 years. That's 1/4 of the Earth's population wiped out. This is something we have to address.
Absolutely, we do. And it's just sickening to hear those staggering numbers. How can we help you? I know you have a website, compasscarecommunity.com. I want everyone to go see the work that Jim and his staff and his team do to protect women, to protect babies. Go to his website, compasscarecommunity.com. What can people do, Jim, once they get there?
Well, certainly they can pray. They can give. They can become a lifesaver and help Compass. We're on the cutting edge. We're on the new front line of the abortion battle, which is New York. This is the abortion headquarters. Planned Parenthood is headquartered here. Danco Laboratories, the chemical abortion company, is headquartered here. But also talk to your legislator. They're home now, as you just saw. Senator THUNE probably won't encourage staving off the August recess. So they're going to be home. Talk to your legislators. Tell them to take a stand and start talking about it. Talk to your friends and your family. But also, I would encourage you to get involved and encourage your local pregnancy centers as well. Get involved, become a volunteer, give to them. This is extremely important because this is a problem that's too big for the government to solve. This is a problem that only the people of God in faith can solve.
You're absolutely right. And that's a good take there. Get involved at your local pregnancy centers as well. We have just a few seconds left here, Jim. I want to tell everyone about your book as well that you can also find on Amazon. Endure the Rising Christian Persecution for the Greater Reward. So I encourage everyone to go pick that up as well. Jim, continue to fight the good fight. I know you have a battle on your hands, but you're doing great things for mothers and, of course, the unborn.
Thank you very much for having me. God bless.
A dramatic rescue on a California beach. It's capturing the attention of people all across the country, even catching the eye of President Trump. We'll have that story for you next. Stay with us.
And like everybody else out there, I have used my arm, folded my pillows, got migraines in the morning from sleeping on poor pillows, and pillows are the problem. There is no bigger problem than a pillow. My patented fill adjusts to your exact individual needs, and it holds that support all night long to take the pressure off your shoulders and keep your neck aligned. One's the size of a quarter, one's the size of a dime, and one's the size of down. Inside every pillow, they're interlocked together. You see how that holds?
Oh my gosh.
That
It's
will
soft,
not
but
migrate.
supportive.
Wherever you set that, you get exactly what you need for your individual neck support. I do all of my own manufacturing in my home state of Minnesota, and every part of my pillow is made in the USA. It's machine washable and dryable, and it comes with my 60-day money-back guarantee and a full 10-year warranty. Sleep is one of the most important things to your health, and my pillow is one of the most important things to your sleep.
So go to mypillow.com or call 800-676-2147. Use promo code LTV to take advantage of this exclusive Lindell TV offer. Order now.
It's finally here, our second annual mega sale. This sale only comes around once a year, so take advantage of the best offers ever while you can. For example, save 50% on our Giza Dream bed sheets, as low as $29.98. And for the first time ever on TV, My Pillow mattresses and My Pillow mattress toppers as low as $99.98. And you save 50% on our Lux Pure 6-piece towel sets. Regular $69.98, now only $39.98. And our best-selling standard My Pillows, regular $49.98, on sale for $17.98. Wait on it, mega sale, only $14.98. So go to mypillow.com or call the number on your screen. Use this promo code to take advantage of our second annual mega sale. But wait, there's more. To make the mega sale even more special, when you order right now, your order's going to ship absolutely free.
Welcome back to my mornings. Millions on the East Coast seeing heavy rainfall posing flash flooding risk. Meteorologist Dana Melanson is here with more on that, and also heat in the Southwest. Dana.
Thanks so much, Vanessa. Extreme weather from coast to coast as far as the continental U.S. is concerned. Everything from dangerous heat in parts of the south, southwest, parts of the plains as well. And then we're talking about heavy rains, or at least more rains that will continue in for parts of the northeast. Let's show you that first, the northeast that's experiencing the rain activity. Take a look at what more than 50 million Americans are being hit with or were hit with yesterday. They'll see some more rain today. It's not going to be quite what they saw the last few days. However, a lot of the infrastructure is really strained because of the amount of rain that they received in such a short amount of time. And we're talking feet of moisture that have moved in. That coupled along with extreme heat, the south, the southwest, parts of the plain states will be experiencing what is being classified, Vanessa, as a heat dome. A heat dome everywhere from, say, Wyoming all the way to the California coast that continues to be put in place that will allow nothing to move in or out of it. And continuing to see this extreme heat, dry heat as well, which is not a very good scenario for the areas that are faced with wildfire threats, especially in the west. But take a look at our triple-digit air temperatures that are going to be experienced today. Well, even Oklahoma City, 102, parts of Texas, Dallas, and San Antonio also recording that 102-degree mark. But we're at 111 for a forecasted high in Las Vegas and 113 expected for Phoenix, with more of that extreme heat expected to move in through the course of the day today and actually for the beginning of the weekend as well. We'll keep you updated on all the extreme weather happenings right here. Vanessa?
All right, thank you, Dana. A 16-year-old California State Park lifeguard is being praised after risking his own life to save a 10-year-old boy who was swept into powerful surf in Santa Cruz. The video here shows the teenager, the lifeguard, battling towering waves while keeping the exhausted child above water until another lifeguard arrived to help bring them safely back to shore. Look at that. The boy was evaluated by paramedics and reunited with his parents without serious injuries. The rescue has now reached the White House. President Trump announced his plans to invite the young lifeguard and his family to Washington to present him with a high civilian honor, calling his actions very brave. He also invited the young boy who was saved. All right, let's take a look at Wall Street opening bell numbers at this hour. A live look from MarketWatch.com. You're looking at the big board, the Dow, the S&P 500, and the NASDAQ. Strong earnings from Microsoft are helping lift technology shares. Markets are still digesting the Federal Reserve's decision to leave interest rates unchanged. Wall Street is also watching another busy day of corporate earnings and developments overseas. And in your news to go as you start your day, here's a look at President Trump's schedule today. Pretty busy. At 8 o'clock this morning, he held an executive meeting. At 10 o'clock, in just minutes, he will meet with the White House intern summer class. At noon, a policy meeting. Then at 1:30, an announcement on freedom haulers. At 3 o'clock this afternoon, he will have signing time. Then at 4:30 this afternoon, another policy meeting. And for all of your news headlines, you can visit LINDELLTV.com. You can also download the LINDELLTV app. It's available on your phones and your tablets. And we leave you today with our Bible verse of the day coming from the book of Proverbs. The Bible says, "Where there is no vision, the people perish." So what that means is always set a clear goal or a sense of purpose. And that'll do it for us here this morning. Thank you so much for joining us today. We will see you all same time, same place tomorrow. And we leave you today with sights of the Trump administration celebrating jobs for hard-working Americans. Have a great day.
Mike Lindell here. The radical left and the deep state aren't just coming for our freedoms, they're coming after our money too. For years, they've been destroying our economy from the inside out with reckless spending, open borders, woke policies that crush our businesses. And now they've left us with an inflation disaster that's wiping out the savings of our hardworking families. They don't want us to be independent. They want us to be dependent on the government. Well, that's not going to happen on my watch. That's why I partner with American Independence Gold. It's a veteran-owned company that's helping patriotic Americans fight back by protecting our savings with real physical gold and silver. And right now, they're giving away up to $15,000 in free silver and a free gold IRA kit. A portion of all the profits go to 9/11 first responders and veterans at the Tunnels to Towers Foundation. The deep state can't touch your gold, so visit MikeLindellGold.com or call 844-714-4653 right now. That's MikeLindellGold.com. Take back control. Well, hello, everyone. Well, I'm turning 65, and let me tell you, Medicare has me confused. All the junk mail and the robocalls and everything else, it honestly feels like they rigged the system just to confuse us. Well, that's why I partnered and working with Chapter. They're independent and they don't work for big insurance. They work for us. In fact, they're the only advisor that compares every single plan nationwide to find what actually fits your needs. If you're on the right plan, they tell you. If you're not, they're going to help you switch. And it's completely free. Just last year, seniors saved about $1,100 by finding a better plan with Chapter. So call Chapter at 234-LINDELL or go to askchapter.org/Lindell. You know, most people think water's just about filtration, but in reality, it's about balance. What gets removed, what gets left behind, and how the water actually behaves once you drink it. Well, many traditional systems focus on one thing, removal. Reverse osmosis, for example, strips water down completely. It may sound ideal, but it removes minerals that our bodies need. The Century Wellness System was designed with a different philosophy. It removes common contaminants like chlorine, fluoride, and PFAS while restoring key minerals like magnesium and improving alkalinity. It also does all this without tanks and without wastewater, and without requiring a complicated installation. It installs in about 15 minutes under your sink, so instead of overcorrecting, it brings your water back into balance. Please visit CenturyH2O.com and use promo code Lindell for 10% off your next purchase.
Talk is cheap when it comes to saving our country. We're not just any cell phone service provider. We're Patriot Mobile. It's not enough to simply talk about values. We live them. Defending life, protecting our First and Second Amendments, and celebrating our military and first responder heroes. We're boots on the ground making a difference. We're America's only Christian conservative wireless provider with nationwide coverage on all 3 major networks and 100% U.S.-based customer service. Join Patriot Mobile today and make an impact every time you use your cell phone.
America's founders warned that without knowledge and virtue, no nation can remain free. Yet through the steady infiltration of Marxist ideology, we have been stripped of both, and we are no longer a moral and educated people. To save America, we must spark nothing less than a national renaissance. That's why you need Freedom Talk Magazine, the journal of truth and virtue. We cultivate enlightened thinking and principled living, offering unique insights into the issues and remarkable people defining our world. Sign up today for your free subscription to Freedom Talk Magazine and join the new American Renaissance.
Welcome to Vocal, the free speech social app that gives you a platform to amplify your voice. Speak freely, connect boldly, and be part of a growing movement for truth, faith, and freedom. Want to know what's happening right now? The Now Playing feature shows you exactly who's live and what's streaming in real time. Check out the show's feed, a non-stop